Okay, wow, I'm very sad. I just tried making this entire video, and I realized no sound was coming out of my computer.
Bruh.
So that's fun. Love it when that happens. Anyway, what's cracking? I have a new plugin today. We're taking a look at a plugin called Ducky Verb. Of course, this one has a little bit of a story that goes along with it. So I've made a few VST plugin videos in the past. I've made 2 about free plugins and then 1 about essential plugins, and I have more planned. But there's this company called Parametric Audio, and they've been watching my videos and really enjoying my reviews of all of these plugins. And this is a brand new company, and they have just released their first plugin called Ducky Verb. And so they shot me an email and they asked if I could review and test out their plugin. And they did want me to mention a couple things about it that I will mention later, but otherwise this review and demo is completely my own opinion. I specifically asked if I could say whatever I want about it, and they said, yeah, go for it. We want an honest review of it. So that is what I will do. So one of the things they wanted me to mention that I will mention right away is that this plugin was designed for vocals. That's its main focus, but it can really be used for anything. Once you see the plugin, you will understand why it's mainly used for vocals. So I have this project open here. This is a song that I have released with Chris Camiso called Illusion of Choice. Definitely check that out. It's on Spotify. I released it a couple years ago, but I really wanted to show in this project because this has some really neat vocals in it, and I feel like a plugin designed for vocals could be really cool in this project. So this is the song. I'm gonna play a little snippet for you so you can hear what we're working with.
Welcome to my dark little world. Take a look inside if you dare to. Welcome to my dark little world. Dive into the deep if you care to.
So that is using, let's see, all those vocals are being sent to track 33, which then goes to send 101. And so that's the vocal send. That's got a delay, a reverb, and looks like a peak controller here for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, this song was made before I had quite the knowledge that I do on music right now. The song was released about 1.5 years ago, so definitely check it out on Spotify if you haven't already. It was a real fun song to make, but it is not quite my best work as of this date. It probably was at that point, but I've learned a lot more. And one of the things that I've learned is one of the essential features of this plugin, one of the selling points, and that's that ducking a reverb sounds really, really good, in that it makes stuff less muddy, so you don't get the clashing frequencies of the reverb with the original signal. So let's slap it on the vocals here. All right, let's get a Ducky Verb in here. Oh, hold on, I have to activate it. I swear I've messed with this before. I had this on my laptop. I'm not just like only seeing this now, I promise. Okay, here we are activated, and I am already immediately liking this interface. Not sure about the little duck buddy here, but we have the ducker section, we have the reverb section, and then we have an EQ. So this is what's selling the plugin right here, the ducker. So basically it's like having 3 plugins in one, because usually you have your reverb, and then separately you have like peak controller like I have here for some reason. I don't think I'm actually using it. But you usually have that linked to like the mix or the wet level or whatever of the reverb that you're using. And then usually you would send your reverb to a bus and then put an EQ on it like this. But this does all 3 of those in one, which is really rad. So this is really just a quality of life plugin. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to test this with just the original plugins, which is Vintage Verb and Delay 3. So let's hear it with Vintage Verb first before we go into Ducky Verb.
Welcome to my dark little world. Take a look inside if you dare to.
So that is a nice lush reverb. So let's try to kind of match that with Ducky Verb, except we'll have some ducking. So let's turn the threshold up a bit. Let's turn the ratio down. Let's turn the release down a bit and the attack down. And then let's get all wet here because we're really just sending it to this. We basically already have the wet level adjusted from the send. And then I think I want a big old room. I want tons of diffusion, big old density. Let's go about here with the dampening, I guess. And then let's get a little bit of a pre-delay. Okay, so immediately something that I want to mention is that, first of all, the controls are not like drag it up and down to adjust the level. You actually have to drag it in a circular way, which I'm not a fan of. Because generally in something like this, you can just do that, which is dragging up and down. It's a lot. Whoa, hello. Hello, duck. I didn't know that happened. That's interesting. So I would prefer if it was linear like that instead of, you know, dragging it around in a circle. Rotary, I guess, that's what that's called. And another thing I was noticing while dragging the decay knob is that it's not exponential like this, where this whole range is between 1 and, you know, whatever this number is, 1.66, and then goes all the way up to like 70. So you get a lot more like fine control here, which is what I like. I feel like that lets you really fine tune stuff in that small area where it really matters, kind of the between 0 and 2 second range where it's really critical to get it like just right. So I would prefer that this was kind of an exponential control, so that maybe here was like the 1 or 2 point, and then all the way up here was still 10. So just something that I wanted to mention, one of my little gripes so far. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. So basically, so far it's just that and the whole like circular control for knobs. Otherwise, I really do like the interface. It's very nice and clean. I like the little drop shadow. Makes it look very nice. I think the EQ looks very nice, but we're not quite delving into that quite yet. And big selling point of this is that it's all vector based so that you can do this. So those of you with 4K monitors whose plugins normally look like this, you can just, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, let's hear how this sounds on the vocals.
Welcome to my dock.
Okay, immediately we need to turn the wet level down. Holy crap.
Welcome to my dark little world. Welcome to my dark little world.
We also need to do some EQing here because this is pretty dark.
Welcome to my dark little world. Welcome to my dark little world. Take a look inside if you dare to. Welcome to my dark little world. Dive into the deep if you care to.
This is sounding good. I do like the sound of this reverb. It's a little metallic. So I don't know if that's something to do with the diffusion, like maybe there's just not enough diffusion or what, but it's definitely a stylistic thing that can work really well in some situations and maybe not so well in others, but that's okay. So not necessarily a gripe, just kind of an observation. I really like the EQ because my main EQ of choice and many others' main EQ of choice is FabFilter Pro Q3, and it has the exact same workflow, minus just a couple little things. So being able to double click and immediately place a band just like that, you can also do that in this plugin. Thank you. Just like this. Look at that, beautiful. You can also change the Q factor, and you can manually go in and change like the gain and the frequency and all that, which is good for fine tuning stuff. And then you can just hit delete if you don't want that band anymore. Get out of here. But one thing that is a little different, that is again not necessarily a gripe, just kind of a personal preference, is that generally in FabFilter, when you use the scroll wheel, it changes the Q factor, which I feel is very, very useful, especially on stuff like low or high cuts, because you're doing that and you're like, that's not quite enough. Maybe I'll cut a little more off of it. Eventually you get to brick wall. You can do all the way down to 6 decibels an octave. So having that in this would be nice. Instead, it just changes the band type. So you can just select that down here anyway. But honestly, I would prefer to have that be the Q control, because that's something I would probably find myself adjusting a lot more often than the band type. And since there are only 5 band types, you know, you can just select it down here. That's easy enough. And then one other gripe that I had about it is that while you can change the gain of the low and high cut filters on this, you cannot change the Q factor, which is kind of annoying, and I would like to see that implemented. That is definitely a must-have feature in something where you are precision EQing a reverb. Other than that, I like you can EQ just the wet or the wet and the dry. That's really neat. So that would be like basically putting the reverb on the track versus putting it on like a send or something and then EQing that separately. So I do like that. And then I do like that we have meters for the input and the output of the reverb. We've tried it on vocals. Let's try it on something else. Let's try it on, I think, this pattern right here, this little synth. All right, so looks like that's on track 18. So we got my favorite chorus plugin, which you should also totally get, which
doesn't have vector scaling.
Anyway, that sounds really good. We got Vintage Verb, of course. Let's take that out and let's put a Ducky Verb on there. So let's go through and let's get this sounded real good. I think that sounds really good. I like that. So Ducker is definitely carrying this a little bit. Just kind of ducking out the reverb while the synth is playing. Just really unmuddying the frequencies a lot, which is really good. That's basically what this is for. Again, this is a quality of life plugin. So I really like that. I think this sounds really excellent. I really like that. So let's compare that to the original, which is Vintage Verb. So I will say, Vintage Verb definitely does sound a lot more lush, but at the same time, it does sound quite a bit muddier because it's not ducking. And I think the lushness is just attributed to the insane like modulation and diffusion stuff that Vintage Verb and Supermassive have, which I really, really like. And then I also did notice that this has presets, so I want to see what the presets sound like. So let's go back to the vocals here. Let's solo them out. Let's go back to the vocal track, going here. And let's once again put a Ducky Verb on here. I tried out this preset before. Vocal Natural sounds really good. And since it's on a bus, we can just turn the dry all the way down and the wet all the way up.
Welcome to my dark little world. Take a look inside if you dare to.
I like how that sounds. I think a little more diffusion and a little less dampening, maybe a little EQ control.
Welcome to my dark little world. Take a look inside if you dare to.
Oh, that sounds real good, man. I like that. And it looks like we got plenty of presets here too. So we have stuff for synthesizers and drums and vocals. So not just vocal stuff, but you know, all that stuff. And it looks like you can save your own presets. Oh, wait, there's a search function? Oh, dude. Oh my God. Okay. That's amazing. I really like that. And then just like a quick toggler here for scrolling through. Dude, okay. The more I use this plugin, the more I like it, which is a great thing. In my opinion, because they haven't told me to say anything about it, and because I can express my opinions about it, this is a really good reverb plugin. I really like it. It combines 3 plugins into one, which is huge for workflow, quality of life, just getting stuff done, you know, banging it out quickly. I really like that. My complaints are few and very minor. They don't really affect the sound apart from a diffusion, maybe modulation thing. Small gripes like the whole like rotary knob thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and maybe the exponential thing here. And then maybe the biggest thing for me would be the inability to adjust the Q factor of the low and high cut filters. So that would be a huge feature if they could implement that. If you would like to check out this plugin, it is on their website, parametricaudio.io. The plugin is $29 whole. It is kind of a bargain for what you're getting, and I would highly recommend getting it. They did not pay me to say that. They are not endorsing or sponsoring or, you know, whatevering this video. They did send me this plugin for free, so I did not pay for this plugin. But given the choice, if I happened upon this plugin and tried it out, then I would absolutely happily pay $29 for this. I think that's a great price, and I really like this plugin. I think most things about it are very, very good. Only a few minor complaints, as I noted. I like the interface, I like the sound, I like the workflow, everything is fantastic. So really, really strong first entry for a plugin from this brand new company, Parametric Audio. I think you're doing things right already, and if you continue on this path, then we're going to see some really, really great things, hopefully. Anyway, that's it from me. If you like this video, please comment down below and let me know if you found it helpful. Again, parametricaudio.io, go check it out. Link will be in the description if you want to check out this plugin. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, stay safe, and I'll see you. Peace.